Spider Boy, Spider Boy, friendly neighborhood spider.
In 2015, Sony and Disney announced that they would temporarily share the rights to Spider-Man, which led to him subsequently being bundled into the MCU, which currently consists of 34 so-called movies. For Guardians of the Galaxy, see the Kurt Russell retrospective, most of which I don't give a crap about, and I just, for the sake of completeness, rate them as follows. 1 is good, The Winter Soldier. 1 is okay, The Avengers. 24 are just boring as fuck and the definition of mediocrity and lack of imagination, also known as the Disney Marvel formula. And 8 are completely unwatchable, embarrassing junk that I don't even consider to be real movies. Impositions like Black Panther, Eternals, Marvels and so on would have to be 100 times better to reach even 0 points. And Captain Supergirl, aka Super Pucci, is the final cinematic declaration of artistic bankruptcy, where they completely gave up even pretending to have a story. The alleged financial success of this piece of shit, the sequel was officially the biggest flop to date, with more than 1 billion at the box office, although most people seem to ignore or laugh at the movie about a man-hating Mary Sue character. It is for me clear that Disney makes these numbers up. So I won't mention them anymore, as they are obviously a fake, like the Disney Moloch itself, which gets good reviews by the corrupt mainstream media, buy their unsaleable cinema tickets themselves, and dictate cinema owners with their monopoly position what to show, resulting in stupid garbage running forever in the program, just to fake meaningless records.
Sucker love is heaven sent you, pucker up our passion spent. My heart's its heart, your body's rent, my body's broken, yours is bent. Carve your name into my arm, instead of stressed I lie here charmed, 'cause there's nothing else to do, every me and every you.
2016, Disney's Civil War was fought out on the big screen, but more like Bucky's War. After an Avengers operation with civilian casualties, the government demands the registration of all superheroes. Iron Man is a supporter, of course, and Captain America is against it. To have any story at all, Cap's friend, the Winter Soldier Bucky, is suddenly the murderer of Iron Man's parents, the friendly philanthropist and arms dealer from the neighborhood, which strongly reminds of the stupid and lazy plot with Sandman as the murderer of Uncle Ben in Spider-Man 3. Spider-Boy himself contributes absolutely nothing to the embarrassing Thing story, looks like 12 and is for no reason on Iron Man's side, even though especially he should keep his identity secret, since his family and friends aren't billionaires who can afford permanent protection from enemies seeking for revenge. Spider-Man's revealed identity and his attempt to undo it at all costs is later in Spider-Boy No Way Home even one of the main plot points. They just pull the stories out of their ass. Civil War is a lengthy disappointment in which nothing at all happens, and at the end, more or less, everything stays the same. Even the title itself is a sheer fraud, as I don't imagine a civil war as a scramble between a handful buddies on a runway. You also would not call a bar brawl World War III or sell firecrackers as atomic bombs. 2017, Disney's Spider-Man Homecoming appears. Teenager Peter Parker lives with his Aunt May and tries to convince convince his new mentor, Iron Man, that he should make him an Avenger. He doesn't want Peter to investigate the arms dealer Vulture, but he does it anyway with fatal outcome. Spider-Boy, Home of Forced Diversity, is an annoying Disney children's movie and has nothing to do with Spider-Man whatsoever. All characters are mutilated beyond recognition. Someone even is running around calling herself MJ. But is not Mary Jane? Aunt May is a hot supermodel? The Vulture is, in contrast to the comics, a cold-blooded psycho killer. And Spider-Kid's suit is in fact an Iron Man suit with boring CGI crap and built-in annoying AI to get children and brain-dead adults used to being constantly spied on and told what to do, like in reality with Alexa, Siri and other NSA tools, and so on. Also in 2018, Disney's Avengers 3 fought their Infinity War on screens. Thanos wants to get the last stones for his magic glove and has to defeat the Avengers. What he does without any problems, snaps his fingers, and half of all creatures in the galaxy disappear, whatever that means. Thanks God also the completely useless annoying Spider-Boy and the even more annoying boring Panther. 2019, Disney's Avengers 4 Infinity War 2 Endgame broke new ground. No, my mistake. It's the same boring shit. 5 years after the Thanos snap, the Avengers decide to bring the snapped-aways back. Of course, this alone would be too short for a whole movie, which is why in the first hour nothing happens at all. Then some completely made-up time travel nonsense which don't follow any rules and is only a pretext for fan service. Finally, everybody is back again and fights Thanos and his army because script. Thanos gets defeated also because script says so, and that's it. The movie is not as boring as its predecessor, even with SJW Captain Marvel in it, which is probably its biggest achievement. In 2019, also Disney's Spider-Man Far From Home was far from good. Peter Parker makes a school trip to Europe and also meets Nick Fury. There, strange incidents happened with giant monsters and Mysterio saves the day. But the apparent hero Mysterio turns out to be a villain, who is after Spider-Man's Stark equipment, aka drone sunglasses, which Stupid Man of course directly hands over to him for no reason whatsoever. Spider-Boy, Far From Spider-Man, is even more annoying than its predecessor. The mystery around Mysterio is none, since he belongs to the most famous Spider-Man opponents since ever. The movies are giant CGI fest, the soap opera elements are just silly and embarrassing, and I don't even start with the terrible Iron Man light costume. I also don't really know since when Mysterio is a former employee of Tony Stark, since when illusions can destroy buildings, or why the hell Nick Fury, according to the worst end credit scene ever, was actually the whole time one of those ultra lame scroll shapeshifter cop-outs from Captain Marvel.
Sucker love who's known to swing, prone to cling and waste these things. Pucker up for heaven's sake, there's never been so much at stake. I serve my head up on a plate, it's only comfort calling late, 'cause there's nothing else to do. Every me and every you, every me and
Also already 2018, Sony's computer-animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from Bob Hachette, Peter Ramsey and Rodney Rothman swung over screens. More from Sony in Cub vs. Spider-People. Teenager Miles Morales gets bitten by a spider and develops spider powers. During an experiment by the Kingpin, he witnesses the death of Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. After he promises him to stop the dimension-cracking machine with which Kingpin tries to bring back his family. Also with a side effect that Spider-Men from 5 universes are drawn into the one from Miles. The $90 million movie made worldwide 4 times its budget back and was rightly celebrated by many critics and fans. Miles Morales' Man Into the Spider-Gwen is a successful homage to Spider-Man, made by real fans with many insider jokes and great attention to detail. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of Joaquin Dos Santos, Kemp Powers and Justin K. Thompson's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in 2023. Here, fanfiction man takes on the vengeful scientist Spot, whose body was riddled with portals after the Collider exploded, and battles him with Spider-Gwen in an alternative universe, where Spot successfully absorbs the Collider's power. When he saves someone who should have died, this universe begins to disintegrate due to the disruption of the so-called canon event. At the headquarters of the Spider Society, where hundreds of spider people live in a huge complex, he learns that they are all connected in a Spider-Verse, and that the impending murder of his father by Spot from his visions into the script-verse is a canonical event, which is why he is now being held there, not to prevent it. However, he manages to defeat everyone with his energy magic powers and escapes to a dimension he mistakenly believes to be his home. The estimated $150 million sequel again made worldwide more than 4 times its budget back, won awards, broke some records and received, for me not comprehensible at all, mostly positive feedback. Spider-Man Across the Wokeverse is an unbearably women parade. It starts directly with a 20-minute uninteresting Spider-Gwen sequence. It's mostly about her, and the movie also ends with her, which makes no sense at all and just pulls everything out of its ass, and in which all the guys come across as wimps, douchebags, arrogant, incompetent or outright villains. The only real Spider-Man, Peter Parker, for example, is a total loser. Constantly in slippers with a pink bathrobe and a baby daughter on his belly, and seriously wants to foist the diversity boy on us as the only true Spider-Man. Thanks to practical Mary Sue energy magic powers, he can also make himself invisible when script says so, superior to all others. The completely overloaded, almost 2.5 hours quotes collection with almost endless, unbearably soap opera family drama relationship fuss, mostly about Spider-Gwen, seems to serve primarily to establish more Mary Sue Spiders for upcoming spin-offs, which I also don't give a fuck about. And ends on a cliffhanger.
Like the naked leads the blind. I know I'm selfish, I'm unkind. Sucker love, I always find someone to bruise and leave behind. All alone in space and time. There's nothing here but what here's mine. Something borrowed, something blue. Every me and every you. Every me and every you. Every me.
In 2021, Disney's Spider-Man No Way Home also appeared. The movie was originally meant to be set after the events of Doctor Strange, see the Sam Raimi retrospective, the actual start of the multiverse storyline. But Strange got pushed from 2021 to 2022, and the scripts had to be rewritten. Thanks to the worldwide corona scam to reduce and enslave humanity, among others through poison injections falsely declared as vaccinations by our supervillains and their state-funded terror organizations like WHO and Co. For more information on Fascism 2.0 and the New World Order since March 2020, just look out of the window or watch the COVID-1984 videos. Best on currently still relatively uncensored platforms like my Telegram, BitChute or Odysee channels, which are also called the Lone Wolf CLUB or in the original German version Der Japango. After Peter Parker's identity as a superhero was revealed in the last movie, he asks magician Dr. Strange for help. A spell gone wrong breaks open the multiverse and 5 supervillains appear in the moment of their supposed death from alternate realities, aka the previous adaptations. The Green Goblin, Doc Ock and Sandman from the 3 Raimi movies, and the Lizard and Electro from the 2 Mark Webb Snorefests. Already extensively hated on, of course, gave them a fair and objective review. Spider-Boy quickly catches them all, but prevents Dr. Strange from sending them back, which he also quickly defeats to steal his magic ring and give it to his chubby, annoying friend, who now becomes for the rest of the movie a poor man's Harry Potter. Spider-Dummy seriously wants to cure the villains with Stark technology. Of course, that goes wrong too, and Aunt Meg dies. The fight against several opponents would be much more interesting if we would got a real and above all experienced Spider-Man, and not an inexperienced clown who only creates plot by screwing up and constantly depends on the help of the real adults. The whole thing also comes off like a sketch that went too long, in which guests constantly appear to briefly play, but probably rather satirize their former characters. Spider-Joke, No Way Good, has not only villains and heroes from the former adaptations, Maguire and Garfield also swing briefly by, and like the rogues most of the time they stand around and talk, or try to kill time somehow, but unfortunately also the unspeakable Sony tradition to run the last part of the series unnecessary into the sand, with too many characters that practically all come up short. The more than talkative movie has hardly fight scenes and is downright boring. The few action scenes can be seen in the trailer, spread over 2.5 hours of silliest comedy at kindergarten level and sheer unbearable wannabe acting attempts.